Okay, we're checking that we are live. It's good to be here today. Today, it's all about spiritual legacy, a belief system that gives people a meaning and purpose in their lives. Nurturing of spirituality in beings is indeed a basic ingredient for moral development. So it is so important, in my opinion, that spirituality is part of our lives. And without spirituality, we tend not to have a direction of sorts. And we don't want that. We want to be able to understand what it is that we're doing, where we are coming from, and therefore meaning, purpose is so important. And I know at times this has been really overrated. And we find that we overspeak these basic things of meaning and purpose. But anyway, nurturing of spirituality in beings is a basic ingredient for moral development. And we all aspire for this moral development. You see, without spirituality, in my opinion, one tends to build their self-esteem around achievement. And when you do that, you are constantly searching for wholeness. There's this feeling within you that it is not all complete. Just having this achievement, there's something else you're looking for. I also find, in my opinion, that without spirituality, we tend to seek validation from others. So, you've built it around this self-esteem or on achievement and constantly looking for wholeness. So you're seeking for validation from other people. And when this doesn't come through, you have feelings of loneliness. You could be with people around you, but you feel alone. You feel misunderstood. When you feel misunderstood, you feel you have no support. And when a being feels that there's no support, they have no support around them, a hopelessness begins to engulf them. And then comes the word failure. And I have spoken extensively about failure, that in the case of failure, we are failing as parents to prepare our children for failure. And maybe because of our own legacy, the one that was left on us, but without spirituality, one tends to treat failure as an end all, that once it happens, this is the end of life as we know it. We see failure as a negative reflection of self, as opposed to a learning curve. This is what I have in my opinion. And I'm just asking you to be able to just get onto our live chat and share with us your thoughts. I'm just checking to see whether we are live on our Facebook, and if we have got any comments so far. We are looking at the issue of spiritual legacy as we continue to look at empowering our children. So yes, I can see we already have a few people who have joined us. I am so happy to note that. So I will say that one more time so that for those of you who are just joining us now, you will have an opportunity to comment. And I started off by saying that spirituality, in my opinion, is a belief system that gives meaning and purpose. So nurturing of spirituality in beings is a basic ingredient for moral development. Without spirituality, one builds their self-esteem on achievement, constantly searching for wholeness, seeking validation from others. And when that doesn't come through, you end up feeling alone. You end up feeling misunderstood. You end up feeling without support. Therefore, it's a hopeless situation, is your perception. Without spirituality, in my opinion, one tends to feel that failure is an end all. It's the end of the world. We see failure as a negative reflection of self, as opposed to a learning curve. So how does this come into empowering our children? Because in this season, we are looking at empowering our children. And we have been using the definition that empowerment is how we help our children realize the potential within them. It is said that this very empowerment builds resilience. And I suggest to you today that spirituality compounds this resilience. I'll say that again. In my opinion, spirituality compounds this resilience. The child develops confidence in their abilities and builds up so that as they go into adulthood, they're able to integrate into society. They're able to draw from self and meet challenges thrown at them in life. The children are aware of their values, their strengths, and their weaknesses, because this is something that we have done as parents, as guardians, as grandparents, I beg your pardon. And as adults, they're able to plug into these aspects of their life, their values, their strengths, their weaknesses, to be part of society. Well, today we seek to look at the importance of nurturing this spirituality as we empower our children. Nurturing this spirituality as we empower our children. But first, the question to you all is, how are you actualizing spirituality in your life? Because if you are not, how then are you going to impart it to the next generation? How is it going to be a legacy? You've got to have your thing going on. So how are you actualizing spirituality in your life? Share with us. Because actions, and I want you to read actions as practical, you're doing the actual thing in life. So actions speak louder than words, and with words here, read theory. So if I was to rephrase that, it will be practical examples speak louder than the theory. You could just be speaking to your children, but children are watching. Children are watching. Share with us and tell us what you have done. Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform for women to help one another on our daily journey as we go through the sphere of life. My name is Lucy Makridis, and I'm the founder of LMC Consultancy, an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a clarity coach. I am a mentor. I'm an online facilitator. And I thank you so much for being part of this broadcast. I'm just checking to see who we have here. And thank you so much. Oh, Sheila says you are live and we're waiting happily. Thank you so much, Sheila. And I see that Kavi is here. And then I've got the silent ones. We've got them here. They're live and they're watching. It is my prayer that today, as I bring on my guest to share with us her take on spiritual legacy, that you will find benefit in this and that you will be coming back more often than not. And in fact, you will reach out and want to be a guest speaker with us. I'm just going to share my screen with you because I would love to share some of our services. I'm just picking out a sample of our services. This May, we have exciting things going on. And from the activities that we have as LMC Consultancy, I do hope that you will be able to pick something from here that you can be using in your time in this season of May that is coming up. So we've got the first one, which is Lady in Waiting, and we start on the 3rd of May through to the 8th of May. This is for teenage girls between the ages of 12, that is preteen, to the age of 18. And this way we help them to gracefully transition into society. And we take them through social skills. And social skills will be things like communication, like listening, like team building, roles and responsibilities, important things that a young lady needs to know. We have core values where you identify who you are, self-esteem, understanding where you're coming from and the things that make you who you are, and personal purpose. What are you all about? Last week, we talked about the power of vision, and that comes straight into here, the Lady in Waiting. It is going to be 6 sessions. It's going to be 12 hours. It's going to be 6 workbooks. So we really would love you to jump right in there and be able to gift a young lady in waiting. As you can see on the screen, we start on the 3rd of May. Registration is open and you have the phone number there, or you can just hop onto my Facebook page and direct message me. Then we've got Awakening Self. And for those of you who are not aware of this, I am co-authoring a book called Wealth Footprints. And I am one of the 13 stories or chapters, if you would like. And my chapter is called Awakening Self. And through the Awakening Self, I take you through 5 sessions with 5 tools and 5 workbooks. And this is where you identify the wheel of life, the important things that you have in life. You look at your limiting beliefs, you figure out what your purpose is and the action plans that are required to make this purpose come to life. We go through something that is called kutabiri, and that is directly translated as something where we are foretelling what it is that we're going to do, so that we know what to do today. You discover your voice and you step into your awakening. Now, the price is 5,000 shillings, and we start on the 10th to the 14th of May. However,
Sorry, Lucy, we can't hear you.
oh, sorry, I had already muted myself. First I get thrown out and then I mute myself. How am I helping? How am I helping myself right there? Okay, so we are back and we are able to see my screen. Confirm you can see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let's just jump right in there and let us share. Right there. Now you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz. As you can see, that is my guest. She's there today. She was keeping quiet there as I went on with my business. But clearly, my service provider decided to throw me out. But I'm here now. I'm here. So it was on to the masterclass core values, and we're looking at identifying our values. What do you stand for? And on day 2, we'll be looking at aligning our values. Aligning our values. Are you living in alignment with your values? These are the 3 products that we are looking at this May. Thank you so much for all of you who are watching. I can see that we've been joined by Radia. Good to see you. Sheila has already commented how I share spirituality with the children. I tell them that faith and belief are what they hold in their hearts and that they must try to knit them together with real life. I love that, Sheila. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is amazing. Thank you so, so much. It is so important that we understand as adults what it is that we need to share with our children. Because if we don't do that, if we do not understand it ourselves, then we cannot start from one uniform place. Thank you, Sheila, for that. Yes, Radia says, yes, we can see the screen now. And we've got Nduku Faith also. And Lily Katule, good to see you. Nice to see you, Coach. Yeah, well, good to see you also, Lily. Thank you for joining us. Yes, so right back into what we are talking about today. Those are the offers that we have as LMC Consultancy for this upcoming month. However, here today to share with us her take on spiritual legacy, on empowering our children, is Reverend Liz Mangeli of Nairobi Chapel. She is married with 2 teenage children, so definitely a fitting individual and empowering children, you know? She's the one who can be telling us, huh? And currently she is serving as an adult care pastor at Nairobi Chapel on Gong Road. Reverend Liz, Pastor Liz, she enjoys encouraging, equipping, and enlightening people. She aspires to be an author and a well sought after Bible teacher. Liz, Karibu sana to this session. It is so good to have you here. And I'm just going to bring you onto the screen so that everybody can see you. All right, there, you can see our guest now. She is with us. Karibu sana, karibu sana.
Thank you, Lucy. I am honored to be on your show today. I must commend you for early preparation and early booking and walking through. Truly, you are a coach. You know, you really do, you practice what you preach. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for this opportunity also. It's an honor. It is a space where I'm happy to join in, especially when I heard your co-authoring. So I'm right behind your tales that you teach me the ropes, you know, of writing. But thank you. And yeah.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. And I'm also thanking you for accepting to join us here to come on to this session where we have been talking for the entire season of April about empowering our children. And we've gone through 3 different areas. I mean, the first one that we went through was phenomenal. It was about mental and social health. Mental and social health, you know, with the children during this time of COVID pandemic, they're at home with us. As parents, as guardians, as grandparents, an opportunity for us to just step in and use this time to be able to know where our children are at.
Yeah.
I mean, scary statistics were shared with us, Pastor Liz. Very scary statistics of what children are undergoing during this time. They are facing deaths of loved ones. They are facing divorce. They are facing physical abuse at home. They are facing, you know, being kicked out of their homes. The auctioneers are coming in. They can't go to school. They can't see their friends. All this contributes to their mental and social health. So as adults, are we prepared to be able to be there for them and walk them through this? Because, you know, these are the things on the ground. This is what is happening. We can't run away from it. And then we jumped into the emptiness syndrome, where we were more concentrating on the parents, you know, that we are pouring ourselves into our children 110%. And we actually stand the chance of forgetting about ourselves. And when we forget ourselves, there's one given: they are leaving us. These children are leaving us. They are leaving us. Yeah, Liz, I mean, you agree with me. The children are leaving us at some point.
Absolutely, they're leaving. That's what's meant to happen. They're meant to grow and live, you know, and be independent individuals. That's correct.
Exactly. And the responsibility is ours to be able to prepare them for this time. However, as we prepare them, there was the locus of control that came in. We need to know what amount of control to wield at this point. Are we then empowering our children and then choking them with our presence right over behind their shoulder, not allowing them to be and explore self? It was interesting conversations that we had. And once they leave, Liz, because you also left home, so they're going to leave you, once they leave, what are you left with? Did you prepare for that season of your life? That was exciting times that we discussed. Last week, we talked about the power of vision. The power of vision, how we are empowering our children to be prepared for this life. So even now, at their tender age, are we practicing this in our homes? Do we have visions ourselves? You know, let's start with us. Do we have visions, and how are we sharing with our children? So Pastor Liz, I'm coming back to you, and I'm just going to reemphasize my belief on spirituality, that it is a belief system that gives meaning and purpose. Now, as we're talking about spiritual legacy, what then, Pastor Liz, is the definition of spiritual legacy? And why is it important for our children? And as you answer that question, I just would like to revisit what Sheila had said. And she said, how I share spirituality with the children, I tell them that faith and belief, and you know, it's faith, and this is all faiths. We are not being biased on any faith. It is a system, So she tells them that faith and belief are what they hold in their hearts, and that they must try to knit them together with living, real life. So as you're walking us through the definition of spiritual legacy and why is it important for our children, maybe you could touch on something there that Sheila has brought up.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. I think that's true. I would say faith is the action. Faith is that which is active, it is lived out, it is demonstrated, and it comes from a system of belief. Now, belief is that which you are passed down or you are taught by your parents or you have come to learn in life, where it is like your perimeter of value. It is that area where you operate around. It is principles, it is values which you have a deep conviction about, for which then are demonstrated and are acted out. And so for me, even before I really define spiritual legacy, because I know we are physical beings and we are spiritual beings, we don't exist in a vacuum. We are compounded, and even social beings. So, and Lucy, you've mentioned various aspects of development to empower the children, include mental, and so you're right. We are capsuled within several levels or layers of existence. Let me share with you something someone shared with me almost 10 years ago or more, that for me were the game changer with regarding to spiritual legacy. This was a senior man in faith who had come to the country as a missionary during independence. And so he had observed how the colonial government handed over to the local government, and he had seen the transitions. And as a missionary here, one of the things he said, which I found very peculiar, was that his goal was to bring Bibles to the local language. So he was part of the translating the Bible to various local languages, even Kiswahili. And he was saying many people learned their language because of reading, their Bible. And I found that interesting because when he returned, now this is 10 years after, he was in his 70s going 80s, he looked around and he said, I feel in Kenya that Christianity is about to be extinct. Of course, being a missionary, he held Kenya very dear to his heart. So this was of particular interest to him. And so we asked him how. And he said, the question of secularization and modernization. Education had come, the country was developing, we had embraced a lot of the West and the culture. And he was sad that things that he had, work that he had put in, then it was about 40 years before, after independence for the country, was little visible. And of course, because of that context and my interest, I took it to heart. And I asked myself, I know the wild animals are getting extinct. Then how is it that Christianity is being extinct in this country? And I then have begun to understand, because right around the same time, if not later, we began hearing these parties that were advertised. Do you remember the infamous parties that were going on? And everyone was a pro, parents were up in arms.
Yes.
And I thought, that's true. The values that our parents held, the moral values that our parents held, somehow had disappeared and were not being strongly held. Cultural values. So it was not just the Christian values, but values that we held as.
In fact, that's what I wanted to say. He was more biased towards Christianity,
Yes.
but it was more of the values, those principles, that belief system had cracked totally because of modernization. And it is a true fact that as we are exposed as beings to modernization, and just like I said in the beginning when I was giving my opinion on the definition of spirituality, because that is where I'm drawing a connection, that it is a belief system that gives meaning and purpose. Now, the minute this belief system is deroded, it is brought down, it is broken, it is not honored, we tend to find now that we are dealing with the things that is just human. We are building our own achievements, or our self-esteem is built around our achievement, and therefore we are searching for wholenesses. And this is where you found that these children in these infamous parties that were going on, especially in Nairobi, because the story was around Nairobi, the immorality that was happening at that time was as a result of the breaking down of the belief system. Anything went. And the question was at this point, if I remember very well, is where were the parents? And this is why the parents now were coming up in arms. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, because we are still going to be talking about proactivity vis-a-vis reactivity, if that is a word, reacting. When we get on ahead. But yes, I do understand where you're coming through with this. And it is my belief that he was referring to beliefs, not so much as Christianity alone. It was the belief system that had been shaken. Thank you for that example. It is really true. And it continues to happen.
Absolutely.
Worldwide.
And even now, and you mentioned, that it is not just unique to a Christian context, it was a societal context. Now we have been, let me use the word, numbed or desensitized to some of those things. But even more so, I recently got to look at a Youth Global survey that was being evaluating teens and young people in Africa vis-a-vis those in other parts of the world. And more specifically, they talked about Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. And they they studied over 4,000 children or teens. And they were saying that youth in this country are still struggling alone, in spite the information that is out there. There's still, and you mentioned about loneliness and loneliness. Our young people are still struggling alone. And therefore, that's why it begs me to my next point to then say, as parents, we are very good. We are doing very well with leaving legacy for our children, material legacy, physical legacy. And that's why I juxtapose it to the concept of spiritual legacy, to ask the question that begs, what are we leaving for our children? Lucy, the other day I read that some of the most wealthy people in the world, men and women alike, are no longer leaving their wealth to their children. They're leaving their wealth to trusts, to foundations, who then manage their wealth, because they're saying the children just squander them. There's a gap. There's something missing. You do so well. You work so hard as a parent. Leave your children's inheritance for their children's children. Third, fourth generation. But these children are destroyed by this wealth. Therefore, begs the question: what is spiritual legacy? I believe that spiritual legacy is that empowering, and we'll talk about that empowering of values. It's like transmitting of values. And it is so important. It's just as important as we are ensuring that our children are book schooled, are street smart, are skill smart, are entrepreneurs and innovators and thinking critically. All those skills, we are empowering them. Their spiritual legacy is as important as they, because like you said, they define meaning, they define purpose for the individual, for the human being. And so I believe, yes, children are a gift to us. In fact, the Bible tells me they are an inheritance from God. Therefore, is anything that is given, I need to be a steward. I'll be held accountable to and for. And after I am gone, I'll be asked, what did you do with this? These ones I gave you. So parents, we are mandated to raise up children who have a spiritual sense of direction, of purpose, like Lucy well said it. And we need to pass on the values we too have embraced.
Yeah.
You know, we talk in Kenya we talk, we really emphasize on not just honesty but accountability and morality. Those are spiritual values that then define how we behave. Yeah. So all of us as parents, even guardians, need to pass on a spiritual legacy. For me, the people who, as I reflect down, you know, reflect on my life, my parents weren't that spiritual, but they guided as much as they could. I had a teacher, and I'll never forget this teacher because I loved music, and this was our music teacher. She was exceptional, you know, and I remember her one day asking me, "What do I believe, and why do I believe?" And it was in the context of an assembly. You know, we are singing away, and I'm enjoying the music, and I'm carried away. But she picked me out and asked me, "By the way, what is it?" You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that got me to thinking, you know, jolted me. You're interested even in this? And it got me to thinking. So I believe you may not be a parent, you may not have your children of your own, but you can be what I call destiny shapers, people, or like
Wow.
guides or
Wow.
coaches, you know,
Wow.
or
Yes.
I call it destiny shapers, because children are malleable. They're like this nice clay or piece of art that you can gently mold with love and compassion. She ended up being my most favorite teacher just because she was gentle towards me. She reached
Yeah.
out to me. And
Yeah.
I believe legacies are not only left by parents, they are left also by people around us who are, you know, influencers, and has see children as those malleable who can be guided towards the direction and the purpose and the meaning that all of us desire to go.
Wow, thank you so much, Liz, and so passionately and authentically put out. I hear that, yes, as parents, as guardians, we are very good, so qualified, in fact, in having material legacy and planning what it is that our children will be left with. However, your question when we get to the spiritual legacy. And this is so important to note. I love the fact that you talked about destiny shapers. We keep on seeing me turning to the right of my screen. I'm taking notes. You know, destiny shapers, our children are malleable, and therefore they are ready to be molded into this beautiful being, or with this belief system. The duty is on us, the onus is on us, but I will keep on asking the same question to the audience.
Yeah.
Are you aware yourself
Mm.
spiritually? Are you aware of this legacy? And again, it is not a bias to any one kind of religion or any one kind of belief, but do you have a belief system that you want to pass on to your children? Or are you a destiny shaper for the next generation? What is it that you are doing? Because if you do not know it of self, then what is it you're pouring out to somebody else? So things to think about, you know, those things that give you meaning and purpose. What are they? And if I was to give you an opportunity today and say, here's a group of youth, and I'd love for you to speak to them, you know, and that is going to beg the next question. When is the best time to start doing this spiritual legacy? But before we get there, I just want to recognize a few comments here. And I can see Lily says, welcome, Liz. You look beautiful this afternoon. Oh, Liz, you look beautiful this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah. And she says, Coach Lucy is just amazing at her job. Thank you so much for your kind words, Lily. And that you're here, you know, just warms my heart and already fulfills me. Pauline Bogwa, great to see you here, Pauline. Pauline is the one who took us through the power of vision. And she was very categorical that without vision, we are lost. We are a lost generation without vision. So it's interesting that we're looking at spiritual legacy today. Karibu sana, Pauline. We've got Abdallah Randani, who is watching. Karibu sana, Abdallah. And I can see Ndugu Faith, you are still with us. So is Sunita. Great to see you guys. We've got a comment here from Christine Apale. She says, very sobering that we will be held accountable for the gifts God gave us in our children. Isn't that sobering? Isn't that
Absolutely.
sobering? Very
Absolutely. And there are many things God has given us, gifts, talents, opportunities,
yes.
spaces like this, which we shouldn't pass up, and the world has become smaller and smaller, and we can
Yes.
be exposed to everything out there. And
Wow.
just to thank those who are watching, and to realize that their quest for knowledge, children also are hungry. That's why, I keep saying, thanks to COVID, one of the opportunities I've seen, of course, COVID is a bad thing. We are praying it away. We are,
Yeah.
protecting ourselves and just being extra vigilant. But I think it for me gave me a different perspective with what I do and how I do it. At the beginning, actually last year, when our children now all were homeschooling,
Yes.
I paused and I thought to myself, my goodness, I would have missed this. Like Lucy said, my kids are teenagers. I would have missed to see them bud. It's like flowers. They all are budding one day at a time, and they're doing it so fast. So
Wow.
COVID gave me the privilege of listening to my kids even more intently, being with them as they wrestle with, studying online, and the concentration and the fatigue that it brings, and
Yes.
also the exciting things they're learning. One point I actually told my friends, I think I should be paying the teachers for giving them my bright children. They're a gift to humanity. Well, I know all proud parents would say the same.
It's so true, but that is your love. That is your
Yeah.
language of love. And it's beautiful what you're saying about COVID. And already from your narrative, your self talk is positive. And these are
Mhm,
one of the things that we take you through at LMC Consultancy. You
mhm,
have chosen, because every
mhm,
day we have a choice to make. And
mhm,
Pastor Liz, I can hear from your language that you
mhm,
have chosen the silver lining of COVID. You
mhm.
have not gone in and become a witness or a victim. You are a creator of this circumstance. So you were given COVID and
Mhm,
all the horrible things that could have come with COVID. You went and you picked up that
mhm.
opportunity to see your children budding. And this is now that time when the
Yeah.
rainy season is here, and very soon we are going to see things budding, and the color is going to come back to the earth. And here you are using those words. Your
Yeah.
self-talk
Mm,
already is positive. And I encourage the ladies and the gentlemen who are watching
mm,
and listening to
mm.
choose, because every day you have a choice to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Choose to be able to pick the narrative, the colorful narrative. Yes, the reality is there, it is stark. We are not ignoring it.
Mhm.
COVID is here. We need our masks. We need
Yeah.
social distancing. We need to sanitize, wash our hands. We need to go for our checkups. We should not be self-medicating, or we
Mhm.
need to go for our vaccine and not start saying that these are all conspiracies. That
Yeah.
is a given. But what
Yeah.
are you choosing to say about the situation to yourself? Because it
Yeah.
becomes a reality. So
Yeah.
once we are there, and I'm already taking it straight into the when. When is
Yeah.
the best time for us to start talking about this legacy as we are empowering our children? Is there a specific timeline? Is there a flow, Pastor Liz? Age appropriate information. I say this
Yeah.
because I remember when my children were young. Now
Yeah.
they're adults.
Mm.
Is there a flow? I'd just love to hear what it is you have. And for our listeners, if you could kindly just share with us what you think, when is the best time? And hold that thought, Pastor Liz. Lily Ochieng says, I wonder what people do on social media if they can't listen to such life-changing discussions from such amazing. Oh, Lily, bless your heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So true. Because you say that you're learning a lot. And Radia has actually picked out destiny shapers. So, and I go back to that.
Yeah.
This is talent that God has given each and every one of us, and we should not pass up the opportunity to share our authentic experiences because we are helping somebody else. So back to the question, when is the best time, Pastor Liz?
When is the best time? I say for a lady and for a mom, immediately you're with child. You
Aha.
know, our Muslim brothers and sisters read and sing the Quran when the child is still in the womb. And that child learns the melody of the Quran. And when they are actually born and can understand and fathom, they grasp it really well. So I tell every mother, as soon as you know you're with child,
Yes.
begin to talk, and you used the word language. Language words are so powerful. Begin to speak, begin to sing, begin to express, you know, those values of love, of compassion, of care, of support. and
Yes.
and that changes not only, of course, if you know, the 9 months become a joy, and when the child is received, there's just a positiveness and an energy that, and a spirituality they begin to embrace even when young. So
Yes.
I tell the mom, begin to sing as soon as you know. And then when you begin to, when the child is a baby, you can, melody and songs are received very well by children. Sing spiritual songs to this child for as young as when they are infant, you know, 0 to 9 months. And when they turn 1 year, just begin singing. Uh, then when you begin teaching concrete values, concrete beliefs, we say there's a window of 14 years. So from the age of 4 to 14, when this
4 to
child,
14. 4 to
yes,
14 is a window that we need to be aware of. Huh?
is a window we need to be aware of. By this time, the child has developed enough language to express, to communicate, to ask questions. Okay. And at this time, this child keeps asking why, you know, ride on that inquisitiveness, ride on that hunger. I say children at this age are like, you know, a clean slate that you can inscribe anything you want to, every value you hold, every
Wow.
belief system you hold,
Yes.
inscribe on this time, to the child at this time, between the age of 4 and 14. So age appropriate information from the age of 4 to around about 6 years, this child has imagination. And this is the best time to tell your child Bible stories, you know, or value-based stories. Normally people would do it at bedtime stories, but in the African tradition, storytelling was told anytime you interacted with a, yeah, anytime.
Exactly.
and
Damn.
and I remember it was even famous, you know, the grandmother's fireplace. When you are eating and
Yes.
she saw you are more greedy than the other one, you know, she'd tell a story.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
You're
find it,
so right. You're so
yeah,
right.
you tell a story. So age 4 to 6, tell stories, stories that have moral values, stories that have a lesson, a value-based lesson, a belief system lesson. And encourage questions, because they'll say, how did it happen, when did it happen, you know, they're very inquisitive. Encourage that. Teach, even now we have technology, use different crafts, use different approaches, material aid that is age appropriate, because a lesson to be learned, it has to be integrated to the child's mind. So allow that child to do something so that the concept is engraved. When the child now is about 7 to 9 years, this child is now a literal thinker. They think in one line, you know. You can be able to read a story and give the end lesson, however complex it is, because they'll see, they'll understand the thread of the story. At this age, you can put in a twist, you know, a moral twist, and give an example of, for example, Samson, the strong man, you know, in the Bible, and the twist that was in the story. And he'll begin to understand, why was he captured? Why was his hair cut? What was, you know, they are literal thinkers. They'll understand stories that have spiritual lessons. At age 10 to 14, this is now when the child is beginning to have that identity differentiation. You talked about loneliness and esteem, and you know, the child is beginning to know that there's man and there's woman. I am a boy and there's a girl, and you know, that identity differentiation. At this stage, a parent has to be so open, an influencer, or the adult around them has to be so open to the child's questions, to the child trying to build and understand themselves, their emotions. And this is where you teach them the stories that are related to that in the Bible. Joseph and Mary are a good example. During Christmas, bringing stories that they can relate with events in the calendar. Now, at this stage, is when they will challenge you. At age 10, they'll challenge you. Why? But why?
I was waiting for that, because this is when the fists come up, because I guess it's hormones that are going crazy here. But that is when the questions start coming up, but I went to this house and I was told this. My teacher believes this, and the children really believe their teachers, and they believe their peers at this point. This is a time, in fact, as a parent, you are no longer the cleverest person on earth. So everything is challenged at this point. I tell you, Pastor Liz, this is a test. This is a test.
Yes. And I remember one time on Gong Road, driving up, I think I was picking one child from school, going to pick the other, and they had just brought in the lights. Gong Road didn't have lights forever. And here I am thinking, what is happening? So the first one was not working, so I said, that one is just flickering. I jumped the light. The next one, my son, who was on the passenger seat, grabbed me and said, "Mommy, you cannot jump this light. What if the police are there?" And he goes into this panic. So I tell him, okay, well, I will not jump the light. And I explained the one at the back was flickering, and anyone who gets to the junction can move fast. And I go to explain. Then I tell him, but in the event, one day I am stopped by police, what would you do? And right there was a teaching opportunity, because I told him, I would not bribe. So I would go to, if they are telling me to the police station, I would go to the police station. I don't think they had started booking people on the spot. And then I told him, then you take my phone and call daddy and say, Mommy has
a teachable moment. I'm loving that when we are speaking about the different times that we can be teaching children, we are intentional. Because if we're not intentional, the opportunity can come like yours at the traffic lights, and you would have just been caught up with you wanting to pick your children, get them home on time. Maybe there's a snack you need to prepare. Maybe there's a meeting you need to go to. And if you're not intentional, if you did not set out to say that my position is to teach my children as they're growing, the different things, then you actually lose the opportunity. And I love what you had said before about you have watched them budding. Let me just sample a few here. Lily Ocheng is actually back. She says, I totally agree with Pastor Liz from conception. So we were talking about the timelines, the flow. Whatever we speak to them somehow gets into their subconscious mind. Isn't that amazing? And Kavi also agreed that it is from conception. And there is a man called Bruce Lipton. And Bruce Lipton talks about the subconscious behavior and how it affects our current life as adults. So this is the years of formation. And what it is that we do with our children at this time goes a long way. So if it is spiritual legacy, this is a time now we need to be making it a reality. Let me just sample some more. Hello, Masha. Good to see you. Edith Ndishu says, lovely information there, ladies. Thanks all. Keep going and strong. God bless you all. More and more blessings. Edith Ndishu, thank you so much, Edith, for just being able to tune in and comment. Lily, you say word from Lillian. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Rosemary Muntunke. Wow, that's a blast from the past. Good to see you here, Rosemary. You say interesting conversation, and we have this every Tuesday at 3. So those are the comments for now. So we've looked at the when, but then how do we do it that it can be sustainable? Because you're sitting in that car with your child, and there's that teachable moment, and it could just wither away. How then do you make these teachable moments sustainable? Because it is a legacy. It is something we're going to leave them with,
Yes.
So how do we make this sustainable?
I think the first is intentionality.
Uh-huh.
Determine with yourself.
Yes.
And this is what I do. I now calendar times for our children. Okay, so now they're in school. One is in year 7, the other one is year 9. So they have a lot of assignments. They have a lot of work going on, including house chores. Like today, one of them is doing dinner, So after school, there's that required. So what we've done, we
Mm.
looked at our week and we said, Monday is the tension, the stress of work, and is not so bad. So we can do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Friday is a good free day. It's a game night. So we can sit and look at something specific. We study the Bible specifically on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Tuesday, and we rotate. Now they're big enough; they can take leadership and say, "This is what I was thinking. This is why I brought it up."
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so it's intentional. It's in our calendar in the week.
Mm. Mm.
Of course, Sunday is church, and when we used to gather in person, we'll go to church. But now we have age-appropriate shows that our church is producing. So the younger teen has his session, and the older one has on Instagram. And, and I'm just saying, the world is just getting to where you can get even spiritual content on Instagram.
Yes, yes.
But we as parents have chosen to be intentional from the very beginning. When they were little, when they were younger, between the age of, like as early as I could remember, I read them Bible stories every day. I think that was when they were in primary, meaning years, till up to year 6,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Unless I traveled or unless there was something going on. Even when there were visitors, would then say, okay, here is our after dinner, our Bible session time.
Wow.
And then they'd go to sleep by 9. So even if it's 15 minutes in your day, when they're younger, build it in their system, in your day system.
Mm.
So that's the intentionality. And intentional parenting always pays off. Now they're bigger, we are even getting it more personalized. There is a mommy date and a daddy date. There's a date,
Wow.
mommy and daddy. We take one child and go off. Now it's to the arboretum, the parks, and just
Yeah.
walk, Karura, just walk in the evening, just take a walk, take a ride, so that we are spending time intentionally with each child. Remember, now they're able to differentiate. They're seeing the conflicts in the world. They're asking, was
Yes.
this COVID inception in the lab? They're asking those twisting, reasoning questions. Is it real? Is the vaccine real? Is it a creation of man? Are we in the end times? What does it look like? How will the last days look like? Is this, and
And this opportunity is you allowing them to have a safe space where they can ask these questions, have a conversation. And I want to believe also, see that mommy and daddy are human. They don't have all the answers. However, they can have a discussion. It's something that this can be brought to you and we
Yeah.
can discuss it, like we say in Kiswahili, roho safi.
Yes, absolutely. And I like what you brought out, Lucy. I don't know everything, And sometimes I'm sitting in the library, someone asks me a question, and I know there's a book that talks about it. So I go and I refer because I say, I don't know the answer, but
Yes,
give me time
yes,
to read.
yes, and this is okay.
Yeah,
This is okay.
okay. It's really okay. And again, age appropriate diarising content, time for looking into content. Because what happens,
Yeah.
and I'm saying another interesting scenario is now we are working from home. Everyone during the day has their corner on a desk, on a laptop, engaging with the laptop and the world out there. But then we need to come back together as a family. This is now where I'm talking about the second how is authenticity. We then come back and say, at meal times, we set the table. By the way, we are intentional to have dinner together
Wow.
because as teenagers, they're happy to eat in their room, and
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
be in their own world. Of course, when they're younger, you can dictate dinner times, you can determine. But when they begin to grow, you discover other an assignment, I have this, and
Yes.
So even in that, saying, you know what, today is Saturday night, we want to do a special dinner, even if it's nothing out of the ordinary, but being intentional to sit together and then to hear how your day was, how frustrated you are, and how this is not working. For me, I sometimes I've been to a wedding, and then the following day I am at a funeral. So they need to see me stretched on both ends, being
The
happy with a couple,
authenticity.
and then being very consumed with a family who are desperate and are
Yeah.
grieving, and what that means.
And that is the reality of life. I'm just going to sample just a few more. We're actually on 5 minutes to 4. I'll be asking you for your 3 takeaways in a moment. I can see Susie Wham says, important to be sensitive to the teachable moments, and especially when they are teens, as they are observing. Very true, Susie. In fact, the other day we were speaking with Pastor Liz as we were preparing this, and she said something that I had heard such a long time ago, which was, monkey see, monkey do. That is how she actually put it. And this is a true reality in life. These teachable moments, the children are watching. They watch and then they see what you're going to do. And hence, in the beginning, I was saying that actions speak louder than words. So actions, replace that with practical. Are you doing it practical? It speaks louder than words. So what is it that you are doing? Because children are watching you, and they're just taking it in, like Bruce Lipton says. And please look up Bruce Lipton. He writes a very good thesis on that formation of children and how we become adults from that child. We still have this child in us. And this is a child who was doing the monkey see, monkey do. And now they're in a situation, into an environment where they have to be able to act on what they believe. But do they have these principles, and do they have these values? So thank you so much, Susie. That is a great observance there. Lily says, my son is 4 now. I wouldn't have known how to behave around him. In this window. But now I know what to do when he gets to 10. Oh, well, there you go. So there's an aha moment right there, Liz, for Lily Ochieng. Our work is done. Our work is done, Liz. And then we move on to Waringa Gaderu, who says, surely learning never ends. Thank you for this forum. You're most welcome, Waringa. That's my baby sister. Oh, okay. All right. Well, good that we have family here, and that you will be able to take this back home, because learning never ends. And then we've got Christina Pale, who says, take home, be intentional about spending time alone with each child. Oh, yes. Be intentional. I did the same thing with my children. I was given 2 children by God, and I made sure that I had dates with them. And again, the way she's saying, age appropriate, where it is that we would go and allow the children to be. Last week, I love the way Pauline Bogwa asked, are we asking our children, or are we deciding for our children? We need to ask our children what their thoughts are. That is a conversation. But when we are telling them, it's a one-sided conversation. So dialogue needs to happen. Lily, you say that I love today's session. As a mother to a 3-year-old, I still have time to correct the areas I have missed. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So much to learn here. Asante Sana. Well, we are coming on to the top of the hour, Liz. If you could give us 3 takeaways that we can take home with us. What 3 takeaways can our audience take away and depend on?
First, be authentic, be yourself. In your language, in your expression, be yourself. Children read through the hypocrisy. Yes. Children read through the putting, the mask.
Yes.
When you're in pain, show your pain, of course, to some level, so that they're not traumatized. When you're discouraged, show the discouragement. Now, what I've learned to do is to pray loudly, so that my kids hear that I am sad. In those times we are praying and reading the Bible, I'm able to express, oh, we are praying for so-and-so, they are sick. We are praying for so-and-so, there's a need, Show dependency, show that you're not all that super mama, because you like to pretend.
I like that. Authenticity.
Yes, be authentic, be yourself.
Be real, yes.
Be real, do you, but of course with a boundary, with the knowledge that someone is watching. Someone is watching. The last one, or the second one I would add, is be intentional. Diarize on your diary, from January to the December. Put a reminder on your calendar. I am meeting with X. I am going to spend time with X, or I will do this and build up in this way.
Yeah.
And there's lots of material out there. Our church, Nairobi Chapel, has children's age-specific material online. If you go to our website, you get activities that you can do with your child all year round. The last one is urgency. Do it now. Do it now, not tomorrow. The time is now. Do it.
It closes. This window of opportunity, it closes.
Yes, it closes. It closes. So do it now.
Oh, thank you so much, Pastor Liz. That advice to optimize that opportunity window really resonates with me. And even if I had to do it all over again, I would do exactly that. I would ensure that I'm able to optimize on the windows of opportunity, the age appropriateness, the opportunity to sit with my children. And I love what you said, watch them bud, become their own individuals, because I've given them the foundation. Have the opportunity to pour into them principles and values. I would very much love, this is a very morbid thought, but it's because I have gone through 2 deaths in this month, that during my eulogy, I will have my children and all the children who are around me talking about how I poured values and principles into them, and that they are who they are today because I took time to be intentional. Definitely. Thank you so much, Pastor Liz, for taking time today. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being so authentic about your sharing. Asante sana. Asante.
Thank you.
Well, the month of May is about energy and prosperity. And we have lined up guests in this month of May to share this authenticity of theirs. What are they doing about energy and prosperity, and how is it touching their lives? So for now, we would like you to go onto our page and be able to just like it, for the opportunity to know what it is that we are doing in May. As I've shared with you the different activities that we have so much more. I could only give you those 4 at that point, but we've got so much more going, opportunities. We're going to be having a webinar coming up next month, but that's a spoiler alert if you just go onto our Facebook page. We also have our YouTube page, which is LMC Consultancy. You will be able to catch all these recordings there and hit the notification button for prompts on new videos. So let us help build one another, ladies. You can see what Pastor Liz has done here today. It's a talent that she's not sitting on, she's sharing with us. So, and the time is up now. And until we meet each other next Tuesday, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.